So you've made your mind up, Portugal is for you. Well done, excellent choice. A decision you won't regret. Now you need to buy a house and move into a fantastic new home. I've lived in many places, up in the mountains, cities, towns, villages, where it's hot, where it's cold, where it rains a lot. So I'm going to help you find the right home in the right place. In this video you are going to learn the 7 most important things you need to know before buying a new home here in Portugal. Make the right decisions now and you'll be set up for life. You'll reap massive rewards like I do every day. Make the wrong decision and you'll end up with deep regrets. Like many others, you'll end up returning to your home country for all the wrong reasons. At the end of this video, not only will you be better informed, but you'll be able to make the right choices. We're going to look at these 7 things. First of all, what are you coming to Portugal for? Do you want to buy a house with a business? Do you want a pool with that house? Do you want a property you can move into straight away? Or are you looking for a renovation project? Do you want a ground floor property like bungalow, 2-story, or even an apartment? What area and region do you want to be living in? And then finally, how do you go about finding that perfect house? I'm going to stand up for this part because I'm fed up sitting down and it proves that I exist beyond the waist. Right, why are you coming to Portugal? Okay, if you're coming here to retire, you're going to want a more modest property, one that doesn't require so much maintenance, and the same goes with the land that you get with that property. Here in Portugal, you will get a lot of land with your property. So the smaller the property, the smaller the land, by and large. You might be a young couple or an individual and you are a nomad, modern thing these days, working from home on the computers. So again, you're not going to want a massive property and you might like, for example, to be in the city in an apartment where it's more metropolitan and more busy. However, if like me, you are young and virile, you might be wanting and or needing to come out to Portugal to do work, business. So what are the opportunities for that? Trust me, the list is endless for business opportunities out here. For example, my place, I do accommodation, holiday and B&B. There are, for example, farming. You can do olive farming or fruit farming. Now, if you are a builder, I kid you not, you come out here and in 1 year's time, you will be a millionaire. Where's that from? Only fools and horses. Isn't that right, Rodders? Mange too? Okay, joking aside, the reason for you coming out here will have a massive bearing on the property and the area you want to live. A simple example is, if you're a nomad, working from home, doing courses or teaching, being up in the mountains where the internet is extremely unreliable is not going to be a good choice. So make that choice wisely. Now let's look at house with business as well as a house that will accommodate a business. So for example, if you want to do accommodation, holiday accommodation, you're going to want a property, the main property that you're going to live in, and then annex properties that you're going to let. Another example would be buying a fruit farm or an olive farm. So you're going to have your main property and then all the trees producing the fruits and olives. The other side of that coin would be buying a property that you can bring your idea, your business with you. Meaning, for example, building. If you were a builder and you're coming out here to do that, you're going to want your main property that you're going to live in, but for all your equipment and your vehicle and maybe your trailer, you're going to need extra piece of land and a building in which to store that kind of equipment in. Another example is if you are a heating engineer like I was, so you're doing heating and plumbing and air conditioning, then obviously you're going to want your main house and definitely an additional building in which to keep all your tools and equipment in. When it comes to the larger size properties for business ideas and ventures, there are plenty of them and some wonderful opportunities. House with swimming pool with house. Do you need it? Should you have it? Okay, here's my advice. Unless you are mum and dad, 2, 3 or 4 children, think very wisely about this. How do I know? Because I've been here 7 years. I've got a swimming pool. And yes, I needed a swimming pool because I do holiday let. So there's another very good reason you would want it. However, a swimming pool takes a lot of work and uses a lot of electricity and chemicals, and they all cost. And how much time do I actually spend in my swimming pool? Very little. I spend way more time in my hot tub than I do the swimming pool. People have got this idea that a house with a swimming pool is idyllic. You want the truth? It's a pain in the arse, especially when it comes to the expense of the running costs and the cleaning of it. Around here, there are loads of properties with swimming pools and they don't use them. How do I know that? Because I fly over them and I look down and I see they're not getting used. You won't use it as much as you think you're going to. So unless you buy a property that's got a swimming pool, so you've got it whether you like it or not, think very carefully about whether you really need it or not. Move straight into your new home or renovate. Well, actually this does come in 3 flavours. Option number 1, move straight into your new home without a thing to do to it. Option number 2, much like in my case, when I bought my home, it needed an awful lot of work. No structural work, but boy did it need some repairs and totally redecorating. And of course the third option is to buy a property that needs completely renovating, including an immense amount of building. Now those projects come cheaper, obviously, and the most expensive are the ones that you're obviously going to move into straight away because they are the more premium priced. So what you want will come down to 2 things. 1, your budget, and 2, whether renovating the property is what turns you on. If I was younger, it would certainly turn me on. But today, nah. I'd want to buy a house where I've got very little to do to it. So what type of property is suitable for you? As I said before, whatever property you do buy, you're going to get a decent amount of land with it. But by and large, the larger the house, the more land you get. And believe you me, there are some very beautiful big houses for sale here. And they are big. I'm talking 3 stories, probably something like 10, 12 bedrooms. There are some beautiful ones. But then obviously there are the other types. You've got loads of apartments. You've got, there's a lot of bungalows. So well, they call them single story dwellings here. But there's bungalows, 2-story houses, 3-story houses. So there is ample for you to choose from. Area or region that you're going to live in Portugal. This is the biggest decision that you're going to need to make, and the most important decision too. The first thing I want to do is dismiss something that an awful lot of people get in their minds, that the Algarve is the place to go. No, it's not. It's wonderful to go there for a holiday, sure it is, but the Algarve is a bit like Ilfracombe in the UK. In the short period, in the summer, very busy, very bustling, but in the winter, a desolate place. Well, the Algarve is a bit like that, but the one thing you must bear in mind, it is extremely hot down there. So you're going to spend an awful lot of time indoors with the air conditioning on. What you must remember is that you're coming here to live, not to be on a permanent summer holiday. Right, let's look at the regions of Portugal. We've already talked about the Algarve. Moving north, we've got Lisboa. You call it Lisbon, it's Lisboa. A beautiful part of the country for sure, but again, it does get very hot. Moving north, we've got Coimbra leading up to Viseu. Now that is what's classed as central Portugal, and that's where I live in that area. Absolutely stunningly beautiful. As is North Portugal, which is from Porto above. But the Portuguese tell me that when it rains, it's very, very wet there. And then you've got the Golden Coastline all the way down. And believe you me, every ounce of coastline is deliciously gorgeous. The area or region that you're going to live in will very much depend on what you're coming here for, and we've already looked into that. But I want to give you some very strong and very sound advice. Choose the area that you want to live in before you even think about looking and choosing the right kind of house. Now, if you want any advice, support or help in doing that, watch this video up here. But please choose your area before you choose your home. So how do you go about finding the area that you want to live in Portugal? Well, Portugal's not like the United States, massive, so you're not going to spend an awful lot of time running around the place. But that is exactly what I suggest you do. Get yourself out to Portugal and start looking around the regions that you believe are going to be good for you. Now, if you want any help with that, watch this video up here. Right, you found the region that you want to live in. Bingo! How do you find the right house? Dead easy. In that area there will be immobiliaries, estate agents. There also is very, very helpful Facebook expat groups. Those people have already come to Portugal. They've been through the process, and believe you me, they will help you in more ways than you can imagine. So get yourself involved and connected with those expat groups here in Portugal, and when you've come back to Portugal to find that property, local immobiliaries. The one thing I want you to take away from this video is that you're not the first to move to Portugal, and you do not have to do it on your own. There is an immense amount of support out there. For starters, there's me. I will help you. There's the expat groups. There's tons of people who will bend over backwards to give you advice, support and help. And then the people in the immobiliaries, the estate agents, they will be very helpful too. So I wish you well and every success with your new adventure in moving to Portugal. When you get here, give me a ring and come over, and we'll share a glass of wine round my fountain. Got any questions? Anything you want to know? Leave it in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one.